not part of it. And even all the provisions ostensibly to guarantee the integrity of Southern Cameroon were like the referendum of 1972, which was totally illegal.
Okay.
The people of East Cameroon never voted to join us.
Okay.
It was merely the head of state who said that, well, if we decide to join them, we will so do by creating a federation of two states, equal in status. That federation hasn't been. I've outlined the basis of Resolution 1541, passed on the 15th of December 1960,
Sure.
defining what is independence by joining, that even that has not been complied with.
So what working definition would you give to national integration?
There's which nation? La République technically is still its own nation. Southern Cameroon is also a body of, it's internationally recognized as a people who are entitled to exercise their fundamental right of self-determination. That is why in the end I'm saying that if La République is concerned that they want Southern Cameroon, we have to go back to the drawing board and try and correct this. If you are keeping my daughter for 10 years without going through the native rights, you can always put that right when children are born. You come to the parents and say, I'm very sorry, I took your daughter. It's because I love her very much. Now I have come to regularize my position. They will say, well, kill the swine and pay the dowry and so on, and you can regularize it. This is what I am saying to La République, that the Jomba arrangement has lasted over half a century. Children have been born. You can still regularize it. Go into constructive dialogue with the people of Southern Cameroon, recognized as such by an organ of the UN, that they are people. So they have a right to the fundamental human rights of all peoples, one of which is the right of self-determination. That once you do that and you two can agree on a constitution acceptable to both of you, you sign it, you file it at the UN, then we will know we are one country. But all the tricks of Federal Republic, United Republic, and so on, and finally to your original shirt of La République du Cameroun, do not impress me, because we have never legally joined.
So you've not shut the door completely to a continuous union between La République, an effective union between La République and Southern Cameroons?
No, who am I? The founding fathers, he just said, that is what he will do if Southern Cameroons joined. The founding fathers of Southern Cameroons also voted, which was an answer to the United Nations asking them, of these two suitors, Nigeria and Cameroon, which of them would you marry? These are the terms of marriage offered by both of them. They said, no, Nigeria, yes, senior wives, Eastern region, Northern region, Western region, and the federal capital of Lagos. Although Balewa offered them that you too will be a region, and you will have the same perquisites as any of the other regions. They had been so manhandled by Igbos and so on when we were under Eastern region that they did not want to have anything to do with Nigeria. So they voted to join their brothers because Ahijo said that he will create a federation of two states, equal in status, so that each state can carry on the way it is accustomed to. Yes, that was the basis.
Yeah.
Yes, but he merely tricked the people of Southern Cameroon. And Britain too was at fault because they participated in the passing of the Resolution 1514, which stipulated that all colonial and trust territories should be granted unconditional independence. Britain did not give us unconditional independence. Instead, they handed the instruments of power to a foreign state.
So even though you seem to annul completely the events leading to the lack of certain actions, required actions being taken towards an effective union, and you find that whatever existed even prior to today, I mean prior to 1972 and then continuously to today, and nil and about, if we were to go back to the shabby document that was done as a condition for reunification, if I should call that, in 1961, the 1961 Federal Constitution,
Yes.
you seem to also say, as bad as it was, and if there was good faith, there were certain safeguards
Yes.
that were in that constitution that could have made things work if people had good faith. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's move from there, because this is a southern Cameroon with a good culture of democratic openness and all the like. No matter, we seem to sanitize everything about southern Cameroon from there on. What happened? Because what happened even from that 1970, 1961 to the way that the southern Cameroon seemed to have sheepishly followed whatever was being going, like just children folding their hands and sitting quiet. First of all, we know 1962, Njoh assumed absolute power under the pretext of fighting terrorism, and we didn't see much of any complaint. Documents don't show of any kind of resistance coming from southern Cameroons that had democratic and open values. Moving down to 1966, is it 66 if I'm not mistaken, our democratic and diverse political system was forced into a merger of one political system, where multi-party that existed as a political culture was abolished. And that gave total power to one person as a president. That led to even the manipulation still of 1972 that we have seen again still happening today, even worse with 1984 occurring, and many other things that you've mentioned here. What do you think happened to southern Cameroons that such openings could have been happening and going on and on and on and on?
Well, it didn't go on and on. First, there were two schools of thought that southern Cameroon would be better off joining Nigeria as a region.
Okay.
And the other school of thought saying that we better join our brothers in East Cameroon because we would be an independent state, whereas in Nigeria we will be one of the regions in Nigeria. And
an autonomous region.
An autonomous region, but not of the same status as an independent state in a federation of two equal states.
Okay.
That was what tempted.
So this was more enticing.
Yes, yes. But they believed that Ahidjo's pronouncement before the world body would be respected. And so when he said, well, we will create a federation of two states, and the president and the vice president can come from the same state, we will have equal power in parliament because no bill will be passed against your present status, of which your people in parliament do not approve of. They believed it. It was merely a trick.
So there was a degree of naivety.
Yes, oh yes, falsehood and so on. And whilst Ahidjo was advised by experienced French lawyers, the Honorable John Gufoncha never included people of the opposition or the Bar Council in southern Cameroon when it came to these complicated issues. With respect, he was a village school teacher and did not have the intellectual preparation to deal with these things. But he assumed that being premier in southern Cameroon, he could go to Ahidjo anytime and agree on things, which was thoroughly illegal, but he did not understand.
So which means, even from what I hear you say now, even we sanitize the actions of our politicians of Southern Cameroons in vilifying those of the bad faith of the Francophone Cameroon.
Yes.
So if a person like Foncha felt that he could go and negotiate with Ahidjo on terms of when he had a structure to go with, but he goes by himself, is that not exhibiting some form of dictatorship in itself that we don't seem to embrace?
It was a fraudulent misconception of his power.
Okay.
Yes. He merely, because he was premier, he thought he was prime minister. Now, a prime minister is the head minister of an independent state. And he could commit in New York. It was Tafawa Balewa who came before the UN and offered the terms for Southern Cameroon joining Nigeria.
Their own options.
Yes, he could commit Nigeria because he was fully authorized by the Constitution to do so.
And they were independent then?
They were independent, yes. Now, in the case of La République du Cameroon, the president was committed, had full authority to commit the Southern, or rather La République du Cameroon. That's why he committed La République du Cameroon before the UN, that he would create a federation of two states equal in status, so that since they have grown up in different cultures, people can carry on the way they like. Because we were entitled to independence in our own right.
Okay.
Now, having tricked them into this so-called federation with apparent provisions for protection there, he did a terrible thing by ignoring the Constitution when he had completely taken over the defense organs of Southern Cameroons. The police force was a federal subject, so he had taken over the police force. The people were here. They had not even control over the police force. What is more, he appointed somebody here he called the Federal Inspector of Administration, who exercised authority over the Prime Minister. And they complained. They said, but we have only recently joined. You put somebody here who comes here controlling the army and the police and so on, and he's belittling the Prime Minister of Southern Cameroon. At that point, Foncha was designated Prime Minister, because in the Constitution of 1961, it refers to Southern Cameroon as a state in the Federation, equal in status to the state of East Cameroon. The answer about the fraudulent machinations of La République du Cameroon are clear. What has happened to the state of Southern Cameroon as stated in the Constitution of 1961?
Okay.
Where is the written agreement to comply with Article 102 to make this association recognizable by the United Nations?
What part would you think toxic ethnic rivalry created an opening or contributed in Ahidjo penetrating that vacuum and manipulating the divide and rule tendency within Southern Cameroon that weakened even their resolve to form a strong resistance against all those mechanizations?
What happened
and I'm referring to what today we might call those ethnic rivalry, Northwest-Southwest divide,
yes,
which we did not get those appellations then when they started.
Yes. Well, we've been trying to destroy that cleavage because the rule of the KNDP, which Foncha headed as premier, was very oppressive to the Southwesterners.
Okay.
They had the top graduates in the public service.
Okay.
And KNDP saw to the destruction of those, because they didn't have any counterpart people to assume high positions. And if people were there, those were the ones to be used in the administration. And that was unpalatable. So they devised ways and means of destroying them. People like Chief Ifange or Eric Kwan, they were the first graduates.
B1.
Yes. Who?
B1.
B1 was
In
not.
power camp.
Yes, but he wasn't destroyed.
Okay.
No. He was my classmate. And I particularly, the firm was hired to investigate his doings in power camp.
Okay.
And we came to the conclusion that he was in control of source or sources of funds for which he did not give
accountability.
Proper accountability.
Okay.
That's a different
story.
Okay. But the Southwesterners were visibly oppressed, and there was an attitude of saying, oh yes, you, these people, you are a minority, we are bigger than you, so we will show you that we are in control now, which was unfortunate. It was unfortunate.
So that seed is really planted, that
yes,
is difficult to get rid of.
Yes, it's what I've been trying all along to remedy. I had people leave the LDA when we supported the candidature of Njoh in the first election, which he won.
Yes, which he won.
And they said that there's still a sour taste in our mouths as to how these people treated us when they assumed power. And going to align with, I said, no, those people have gone, a lot of them are dead. There's a new generation of educated people, and you cannot visit the scenes of the fathers on the new generation who have had a better exposure, educated abroad, and so on. No, so that's why for my part, I have been trying. In fact, I proclaimed John Fundi as having won that, is it 1992 election in Bamenda, and which is a treasonable offense, because it's only the Supreme Court which can pronounce it. And I said, let them come and catch me, and I will subpoena all the results from all the polling stations. And it's a simple mathematical exercise to show that Fundi had won.
So you believe, because some people feel the Northwest-Southwest divide is an illusion, you believe it's real?
Oh yes, there's no doubt about that. Okay. Because I saw some of the dirty tricks.
Do you believe without that, if there was a solid collaboration between the Anglophone political bloc, where people or politicians, dubious as a way from on both sides, Southern Cameroon side and everywhere, use this divide to keep themselves in power by making the people knock their heads? Do you believe without that, the Southern Cameroons could have been able to withstand some of this mechanization? I can give you a latest example of the Anglophone Solidarity Force that was shown with the GC board. Even though the La République say over their dead body for that GC board to be created, but Southern Cameroonians across political persuasions and social status or ethnicity pulled their forces together and said they will not allow this happen, and it never happened. The minister was forced to come to Boya to launch the GC board. So why is it that the Southern Cameroonians cannot learn from that? That is the solution is that simple.
It's undue appetite for power. Even in the SCNC, which was the foremost political organ, which had taken La République to tribunal and scored very resounding victories, that there is no independent judiciary in Cameroon, and that La République should enter into constructive dialogue with the people of Southern Cameroon, in particular SCNC and SCAPO, to resolve the question as to whether they ever joined. Because Southern Cameroonians, in taking the action, said they never joined. And they were in a difficulty to come to. They said, negotiate amongst yourselves. If you really want to join, it's quite simple. You sign an agreement, file a copy at the UN, you would have joined. If you don't do that, then you have not joined. And La Republic has been reluctant to participate. They say we are a sovereign state and so on and so forth. Yes. So, although the Foncha regime leaves a sour taste on the educated class of that generation, a lot of water has passed under the bridge. People have intermarried a great deal and so on.
We're eating foods. There have been more integration, non-political integration, which facilitates a lot of things and quells down the animosity, the ethnic animosity.
Well, because if somebody has married your daughter, you can't go fighting with him.
Exactly.
That is why I'm saying that it only requires a meeting of minds of La République du Cameroun and Southern Cameroonians. Let us sit on the table, and as I stated in my article, after the colloquium in Yaoundé, when both Professor Njoh, a leading historian and leading member of the CPDM, and Professor Magloire Ondoa, who was their most established professor, they all came to the conclusion that there is no agreement signed between Southern Cameroon and La République du Cameroun. But they tried, Magloire stated that, well, it's like an elder brother opening his arms to receive his younger brother. I responded to that, the internet, you may have seen it. I said, the learned professor has agreed that there is no treaty of union. He said, you can only have a treaty of union between two states. Well, the Constitution had established Southern Cameroon as a state. So, to put that right, bring Southern Cameroon to draw up an agreement with La République du Cameroun to comply with the overriding charter of the United Nations, Article 102. I said, but if you just say that, oh, a bigger brother opened his arms to embrace a younger brother, what sort of union is that? One, even if they met, he said they met in Fumban, and that is what should be celebrated. I say you are putting unequal things together. There was a Hijo in Fumban with full powers to commit La République du Cameroun. Foncha was acting illegally, like an underage child. How could there have been any agreement in Fumban on which you want to stick your argument? He said that a new state was born in 1961 between Southern Cameroon and La République du Cameroun. I said, sir, your algebra makes no sense at all. I said, if A represents La République and B, Southern Cameroon, so you will say A plus B equals A? I said, your algebra does not make any sense at all. It means that B is a non-entity. This is a people who have been affirmed by an organ of the African Union to be a people who can exercise their own right of self-determination. Then you say that by joining La République du Cameroun, the equation A, say, give it a figure of 2, B is 1. Then you say 2 plus 1 equals 2. I said, mathematically, even it doesn't make sense at all. Why don't you come out frank and repeat the decision of the African union, which says that go into constructive dialogue and try and resolve this matter amicably. You want it to be resolved by force, by bloodshed? I said, I am not ready for bloodshed because I saw what happened in eastern Nigeria.
Yes.
And some people are talking about it without knowing the consequences. These soldiers will first try and eliminate myself in particular. So you people are overseas and you say, oh, you must
go fight.
Go fight. Whilst you are free from all this, I am
taking
here,
out all your children.
I am not going anywhere. And I am saying that they are wrong. They should atone for their sins. Bring us on the conference table. If they can convince us that we can have a workable federation.
So Mola, what is the way forward? Where is the way forward? Because 1990, a lot of work was done to reawaken the Anglophone consciousness or the Southern Cameroon consciousness. And it seems the direction where that has taken us now is to the level now that I can say to international ridicule, given the type of action and the quality of talks and whatever that comes out of the structure that we have in place today called SCNC, to the point where the people who are at the helm of NCNC internationally, who you don't even feel that vision or that patriotism, nationalistic tendencies in them, but you see, you can easily accuse them of being planted to disorient the focus of the struggle. It became business for political asylum, paper for many people abroad, and even people who have been here, like you. Now, if you were here and then you went back home, you went to America and you wanted papers and you go to one of these boys who have not seen anything about the struggle, they will ask you money.
Yes.
They will ask you money.
Yes.
It has happened to many of members that I know here, and that has destroyed really the image and made even international bodies not to take us seriously. How are we going to, I know that every struggle might have such a face, but it's for us to accept that there's that problem, which is very significant, which tries to even erase a good argument that we have for a good case. How is that? How are you, especially you here at Rome, and how are you going to rescue that situation?
People have come to see me to give them attestations and so on. I said, I am still here. Have you been kept under house arrest, arrested without a warrant and so on, as many times as I have been? But I am still here. And you want these papers just to go away. I cannot, in good conscience, sign you that. I say, I've never done it, and I never will. I say, things are bad now, but if all of us leave, what is going to happen? I don't approve of what they are doing in Bamenda, nor the infighting between Chief Ayamba and from Galamfo. Traditionally, because of the experiences of the KNDP government, it has been traditional that the leadership of the SCNC comes from the southern zone, from the World Corps. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And it has been until Chief Ayamba decided to exclude his vice chairman from the northern zone in a meeting in which, in my opinion, it was quite unconstitutional. Then he convened...
You mean he excluded from Gala?
Yes.
Okay.
And then he convenes a meeting in Bamenda, and they send out notices. For various reasons, he says the meeting should be called off because of circumstances which have intervened. The people get to Bamenda, informed for as vice chairman, rides the high horse and proceeds to dismiss
Ayamba.
I said, but what are you people doing? Ayamba's complaint is that Mfomfo had visited me a few times to plead with me that since the leadership comes from the southwest, and the three elder statesmen, that's John Gufonja, Muna, and I, we paid our own fare to the UN and so on.
Mm-hmm.
That since my brethren have died and I'm still alive, I should
Get the leadership.
yes. But I was engulfed in the Bakuri Land Claims Committee, a tedious battle. So I said, I cannot divide myself at this point in time. Wait until this matter reaches a point of no return, so that future generations can take on the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I will then be free. So I was free from about 2010, 11, when the Bakuri case had reached that point. Final decision has not yet been reached. I received a recent letter from them that the matter will be placed before the commission again for consideration. So I told him, and for said so openly, which is true, Chief Ayamba, with due respect, is not an educated man. And in all these things, you need a certain level of intellectual development to appreciate the intricacies of these matters. It is not any villager who is a Bakuri man who can do or say the things I do. I cannot, for example, act like a doctor because I am not trained in that discipline. Even in these things, you have to have certain training to be able to understand the ramifications.
And different expertise.
Yes. So I have detested it. So what I have done is that in 2003, a group of 12 southern Cameroonians cited the Nigerian government in the Nigerian Federal Court.
Okay.
That Nigeria should be compelled to assist them, because not being a sovereign state, they cannot take their matter themselves to the International Court of Justice, which is an organ to settle disputes between any two members, or to the General Assembly of the UN. That Nigeria should be persuaded to take Southern Cameroon matter. The matter came up. The Nigerian Attorney General
Of that country,
objected to the matter being heard by the court. And he said the diplomatic relations with La République du Cameroon are excellent, because if they had not barred the way against Ojukwu and he had been allowed to transport his heavy weapons through southern Cameroon to enter East Nigeria, Nigeria would have disintegrated. And these fellows, whose addresses are shown as Commercial Avenue in Bamenda, if they have any problem with La République, they should go to their country and settle it, and not try to use the court of Nigeria, which is independent, to pass an order which the Nigerian government can obey to take their matter. And therefore, that the matter should be thrown out. One of the Yoruba lawyers who stood for Southern Cameroon got up and reminded the judge that they were in a court of law, not in a history class, and that he was going only to discuss law. That the very court before which they were appearing was created by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is the supreme law. And he quoted an article which says that anyone who has a claim against the federal government and it has not been satisfied and sets foot in Nigeria is at liberty to bring an action at the Federal High Court to order the government to pay him. He said that is the law. The law did not say that you had to be Yoruba, Igbo, Jekri, or Hausa. So long as you set foot either directly or indirectly through an agent like a lawyer in Nigeria. He said his clients are right before the court. They are standing on Nigerian soil. They claim they have a case against Nigeria, as you will see from the pleadings. If you don't hear them, how will you know that their claim is genuine?
True.
So they said that what the Attorney General is saying is utter nonsense, because he's bringing sentiments into a court of law. You should not countenance that. You have to decide the facts on the basis of the law. And that is my submission, that the Attorney General's plea should fail. And this case should move on to trial.
Okay.
The summary of it all is that, well, when they left the court, the judge gave them a few days to look at everything. When they reassembled, she said, well, I'll listen to the powerful address of the learned Attorney General, as well as the reply of counsel for the plaintiffs. He said, I'm afraid I must disagree with the learned Attorney General. This matter is properly before me and will move on to trial. So Southern Cameroonians, go and prepare your case and bring it forward. Yes. So at that time, the two parties dispersed. The Attorney General did not know what to do. And he thought that if the matter goes on to a lengthy trial, he might lose. So the two parties decided to negotiate.
Okay.
And they signed a memorandum of agreement. I have a copy. Yeah?
Oh, great. So now, when you mention Ayamba, this is my final question to you. And when you talk of Ngalamfo and Chief Ayamba,
Yes.
that's one of the factions of many other factions of SCNC that exist, right?
Yes.
Okay, why did we get all of these factions? What is going on? I
It
mean,
is-
we made once, we created one SCNC. Why is it this disorder and intolerance of each other that is going on within the SCNC?
I believe by your name you are a Christian.
But I'm Christmas. You've always called me Christian, but
Yes.
my name is Christmas, which is the same thing.
Which
no?
is the same, yes. Christian or Christmas.
Christmas, yes.
It's the same.
Mm.
Now, you remember the story of the boy Jesus Christ?
Yes, I do.
When he went into heaven, he left 11 apostles. One had betrayed him, and he had gone mad and committed
Died.
suicide.
Mhm.
The others replaced him. So it was one church at the beginning. Is that church of Jesus Christ one church today?
Not at all.
That is my answer to you about the different factions of the SCNC. To the extent to which you have people who have ambitions and differences of opinion, it will always be so.
Okay.
But the mainstream SCNC is something we should be nurtured and protected. Those
So the core of it all is still there.
Yes. It is a shame that Chief Ayamba will dismiss his assistant by him saying that, he's illegal because he has disclosed that at some time he wanted Mola Njoh Litumbe to be chairman of us. I didn't want to be chairman of the SCNC. He wouldn't have been in competition with me. No. We wanted to give these things to the younger people, like Ella, Anyangwe, Itoe. You know, I had been in the background all along. Even in the Constitutional Conference, when the Prime Minister, Ayatu, nominated Anyangwe, Itoe, and Munzo as the representative for Southern Cameroon, I objected. He said, Mr. Litumbe, what is the problem again? Are these people not Southern Cameroonians like you? I said, sir, they could well be, but I am not represented. He said, why are you saying that? I said, because there is none of my people. These people are on your payroll, you pay them. I am independent. I don't have anyone there who can convey the independent views in that constitutional case. So he said, whom have you in mind? Ellard was sitting behind me. Although Foretia was the legal advisor of the LDA, he was not in the hall that time. So I took Ellard's hand. I said, this will be my representative. He said, is he a lawyer? I said, yes. Then he ordered, put Elad's name down. So I am the father of this tripartite thing, you see.
Well, that is information. That is information that I'm getting yesterday when I talked to Munzo.
Yes.
Because that has been a hidden information. During the tripartite, the person we saw visibly who spoke about Southern Cameroons was Isaac Eno. Is it Isaac? Is it Eno, the one who had a party in Moyoka?
Oh,
Isaac.
Chief something.
It's Isaac Eno. So I learned of the happenings within that community in the closed door meetings from Munzo yesterday.
Oh, yes. Even the voting age took the conference 2 days. The opposition wanted 18 so that they could have more people jobless who will vote for the opposition.
Yes.
And government wanted 20. After 2 days, I put my hand up. He said, yes, Mr. Litumbe, what have you to say? I said, sir, I am an elderly Bakolo man. And if children are playing and quarreling over a piece of meat, you take it and you divide it. And before you know, they are playing again
together.
Give me those 3 years that you are quarreling about. I will divide it into 2. The voting age will be 19 and a half. But it doesn't sound well. Why don't we make it 20 and save ourselves this much? He said, this Bakole man has brought in a formula which is not in any textbook. What do you say? The whole road, that is our decision. That's why for the first time, the age 20 is put in the constitutional as the voting age.
Oh, that's
to
good.
me.
Good.
And that was the second time I put up my hand about the constitution. And I said, I am not represented. That's how Elad came into it and eventually emerged as chairman. But these are things one doesn't talk about.
Yeah, I know. Well, finally, Mola, thank you so much for helping out, for doing this with us. I mean, it's good to have you still around. One final thing, I'll give you probably a few minutes to talk on your own personal message to your people here in the diaspora, and to give me your opinion on what you think about the ongoing debate now about dual nationality.
My closing remarks would be that the people of Southern Cameroon have been recognized by an organ of the UN as a people. And therefore, all they need is to speak with one voice as a people. And all this will be over. La République du Cameroon cannot forcibly colonize Southern Cameroonians when the UN itself has recognized them as a people. I'm sure there are conflicting voices here and there, and La République is not relenting in its efforts to divide them. A lot of money is going around to silence leading Southern Cameroonians. It's like, keep quiet. What is it you want? You don't have a car. We give you a car. You build a house. Forget about this. And they are sowing the seed of division. That's why Chief Oben and Leke appeared before the commission to say that they have entered into negotiations with La République du Cameroon, and therefore the matter in Banjul should be suspended. The SCNC lawyer said, they are not a party. This case is between us and La République du Cameroon. We don't know them. So they were dismissed from the hall. Although they claimed to be SCNC also. Yes. And the case went on, and that's why the final decision was that Southern Cameroonians are a people, and that they should negotiate with La République du Cameroon. They've tried all they can. The Republic is not responding. That's why my recommendation in this would be, La Republic, please heed international opinion. You cannot operate a system whereby you ignore international law and expect your citizens to ignore the laws you yourself have passed. I said it cannot work. So my recommendation in that regard is that this constructive dialogue should take place to see if the two parties can meet their various positions. And if they do meet, they should sign an agreement and legalize the marriage before the United Nations. If they cannot agree, they should revert to their positions on 1st of October 1961. Yes, that is that. Now you asked me something else about
dual nationality.
Dual nationality. If and when Southern Cameroon becomes independent, we will adopt dual nationality. Because right now there are people like you who are Cameroonian, body and soul. You live in America, and because of their laws, you can take their nationality. But you are Cameroonian, body and soul. The Jews in Israel, there are a lot of Jews in America who, because of their economic muscle, wield a lot of influence. Most of them are also Israelis. That's why America sometimes finds it difficult to discipline the small state of Israel.
True.
Because of the advent of dual nationality. So in my mind, it is a good thing if people like you can continue to be voting for Barack Obama in America and still come here and use some of the technology you have learned over there, not that of men marrying men and women marrying women. That we will not.
That will not accept.
No, but elsewhere there are certain things which we should learn from an advanced democracy. And so I have no objection at all to dual nationality. I think it is a convenient excuse to exclude people living in other countries who are highly intellectually developed and who, if they were to come back and stake their candidatures, might be selected into high office. So to keep them away, that's why the current regime is hesitating about dual nationality. But my final word to Southern Cameroonians, indeed to all Cameroonians, is that let us respect international law first. But because the United Nations was established to establish a system of law and order in the world. You cannot pretend to be a member of the United Nations if you cannot comply with the provisions of the Charter and expect people in your own country to respect law and order. If things carry on the way they are doing, they would ring the bell for possible disaster. Because if you don't respect law and order, the alternative will be lawlessness. But I was very pleased the other day to receive this letter from government.
Okay.
I'll read it to you.
Sure.
From the Minister of Higher Education to Mr. Njoh Litumbe. Subject, Where Colloquium. Dear Sir, further to the highest prescriptions of His Excellency Paul Biya, President of the Republic, Head of State, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the reunification of Cameroon and Boya in the course of 2013, and within the framework of the activities of the Commission that I am in charge of as Minister, I am pleased to inform you that you have been selected to make a presentation in your capacity as one who had the privilege to have witnessed the events that took place prior to and after the reunification of dear and beloved country, Cameroon. This is an opportunity for all of us Cameroonians, young and old, to discover the real history of our country. While thanking you in advance for any disposition you will take to submit a summary of your presentation to the Secretariat from this of the Ministry of Higher Education, kindly accept, sir, the assurances of my highest esteem. I got this letter by hand. It was hand-delivered nearly a month after it was dated.
Right.
So I wrote to them. I said, is it worthwhile my taking any action on this letter? They said, yes. I said, the mail runner from Yaoundé took nearly a month to travel from Yaoundé
To bring the mail.
to Boya. They said, no, it was not so, sir. Before we write to you, we have to seek clearance from the
Presidency all over.
Yes, and we got the clearance only a few days ago. So the letter is still valid. I said, but there's no idea when the colloquium will be held. They said, no, at least a week or so before the president comes, the colloquium will be held. But this is just to hear from you what you say. I say, I have never wavered from my position that this association is a Jumba arrangement. Come, we sit down.
So you're going to send them that submission?
Yes, political concubinage. They say we have followed your writings. That's why we feel that you should come and address a public colloquium.
Okay.
Organization.
So you'll be there?
I have responded to them
Okay.
and accepted their invitation.
Okay.
I've even sent them brief headings of the subject matters I will deal with during the colloquium. It's for them to tell me what it is. I said, when 2013 is almost coming to a close. And then they said, well, we ourselves have been on a visit, and some of the projects are not yet reached a stage when we can advise the president to visit. So the visit might only be early next year.
Thank you, Mola.
Don't publish all this before.
No, I will not.
Yes,
I will not.
yes.
I will not.
This is for your research.
What this one, that will be edited, but
Yes.
I will not publish it.
Yes.
Even if it's coming, it will come after this
Yes,
event. I've already
but
gone
I
through.
thought you should see an
Yes.
official letter
Yeah.
and then report director of the civil cabinet and the president.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
It's the hand of
so
God
they are
working. You know, for years they have been troubling me. I've been arrested about 3-4 times that I should not speak.
does that include the one that we were arrested? We were under house arrest.
No.
So call it.
No. This is when we went to Oslo to travel.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And we met here on 11th of September, an organ to do the political activities irrespective of come along and demonstrate.
Okay.
Because the people there have said, you don't need to kill anyone. We'll then see that really you are under imprisonment.
The room starts here.
Oh.
One thing I like about the Finnish